Welcome to Short Story Scene. I'm your host, the storyteller, and here we have a tale called The Man from Snowy River by Banjo Paterson. There was a movement at the station, for the word had passed around that the colt from Old Regret had got away, and had joined the wild bush horses. He was worth £1,000. So all the cracks had gathered to the fray, all the tried and noted riders from the stations near and far, had mustered at the homestead overnight, for the bushmen love hard riding where the wild bush horses are. And the stock horse snuffs in the battle with delight. There was Harrison, who made his pile with the pardon won the cup. The old man with his hair as white as snow, but few could ride beside him when his blood was fairly up, and would go whither the horse or the man could go. And Clancy and Overflow came down and lent a hand. No better horseman ever held the reins, for never horse could throw him while the saddle girths would stand. He learnt the bride while droving on the plains. And was there a stripling on the small and weedy beast? He was something like a race-horse, undersized, with a touch of timber pony, 3 parts thoroughbred at least, and such are the mountain horsemen praised. He was hard and tough and wiry, just the sort that won't die, and was the courage in the quick and patient tread. He bore the badge and gameness in the bright and fiery eye, and the proud and lofty carriage of his head. And still so slight and weedy, one would doubt his power to stay. And the old man said that the horse will never do for long the tiring gallop. Lad, you better stop away. Those hills are far too rough for such as you. So we waited, sad and willis. Only Clancy stood his friend. I think we ought to let him come, he said. I warrant he'll be with us when he's wanted at the end, for both his horse and he are mountain bred. He hails from Snowy River up by Cossycoke's side, where the hills are twice as steep and twice as rough, where the horses' hoofs strike firelight from the flint stones every stride. The man that holds his own is good enough. The Snowy River riders on the mountains make their home, where the river runs those giant hills between. I have seen full many horsemen since I first commenced to roam, when nowhere yet such horsemen have I seen. So he went and found the horses by the big Mississippi clump, and raced away towards the mountain's brow, and the old man gave his orders. Boys, go at them from the jump. No use to try the fancy riding now. And Clancy, you must wheel them. Try to wheel them to the right. Ride boldly, lad, and never fear the spills, for never yet as the rider could have kept the mob in sight, if once to gain and shelter of those hills. So Clancy rode, and wheeling them, he was racing on the wing, where the best and the boldest riders take their place. And he raced the stock horse past them, and he made the ranges ring with the stock whip as he met them face to face. Then he halted for a moment while he swung in dreaded lash, but there he saw their well-loved mountain full in view. They changed beneath the stock whip with a sharp and sudden dash, and off the mountain scrub they flew, and the fast horsemen followed, where the gorges deep and black resounded to the thunder of their tread, and the stock whips woke echoes of the fiercely answered back from cliffs and crags and builded overhead, and upward, ever upward, the wild horses held their way, where mountains, ash, and Cargagong grew wild, and old men muttered fiercely, "We may bid the mob good day." No man could hold down the other side. When they reached the mountain summit, even Clancy took a pull. It well might make the boldest hold their breath. The wild hop scrub grew thickly, and the hidden ground was full of wombats' holes, and any slip with death. But the man from Snowy River let the pony have his head, and he swung his stock whip around and gave a cheer. He raced him down the mountain like a torrent down its bed, while the others stood and watched in fear. He sent the flint stone flying, but the pony kept his feet, and he cleared the fallen timbers in his stride. And the many from Snowy River never shifted in his seat, and he grand in his sea in the mountain a horseman ride, through the stringy barks of the saplings on the rough and broken ground. Down the hillside at the racing pace he went, and he never drew a bridle till he landed safe and sound. At the bottom of the terrible descent, he was right among the horses as he climbed the further hill, and the watchers on the mountain standing mute. I saw him ply the stock whip fiercely. He was right among them still, as he raced across the clearing in pursuit. Then they lost him for a moment where the two mountain gullies met, and the ranges but a final glimpse reveals on the dim and distant hillside the wild horses racing yet, with the man from Snowy River at their heels. He ran them single-handed till their sides were still white from foam. He followed like a bloodhound on their track, till he halted cowed and beaten. Then he turned his heads to home, and along the unassisted brought them back. But his hardy mountain pony, he could scarcely raise a trot. He was blood with hip to shoulder from the spur, but his pluck was still undaunted, and his courage fiery hot. For never yet a mountain horse occurred, and down by Kosciuszko, where the pine-clad ridges raise their torn and rugged battlements on high, where the air is clear and crystal, and the white stars fiery blaze in the midnight in the cold and frosty sky, and where around the overflow reed beds sweep and sway to the breezes, and the rolling plains are wide, and the man from Snowy River is a household word today, and the stockman tells the story of his ride. And that concludes our story, The Man from Snowy River by Banjo Paterson. If you like this content and like to support it, please head on over to Patreon. That is www.patreon.com/shortstoryscene. Thank you for listening. See you next episode. Bye.